They were surrounded, completely surrounded, outnumbered, outgunned, freezing to death in one of the harshest winters Europe had seen in years. Supplies were running out. Ammunition was almost gone. The wounded were piling up with no proper medical care. And then the enemy sent them a message, a final offer: surrender or be annihilated. The American general read it carefully, looked at his officers, paused for just a moment, and gave one of the most legendary responses in military history. Nuts. That single word didn't just reject the enemy. It ignited something far more powerful. And what happened next would change the course of World War II, December 1944. By this point, most American soldiers believed the war in Europe was almost over. Paris had been liberated months earlier. German forces were retreating across multiple fronts. Allied troops were pushing deeper into occupied territory every day. The mood was optimistic, confident. Some units were even being rotated out of combat. Others were resting in quiet sectors, far from the chaos of the front lines. Many soldiers didn't even have proper winter clothing. Why would they? The war, they believed, would be over before winter truly hit. Many thought they would be home by Christmas. They couldn't have been more wrong. Far to the east, hidden deep within Germany, Adolf Hitler was planning something desperate, something massive. He knew Germany was losing the war. The Soviet Union was crushing his forces from the east. The Allies were closing in from the west. Time was running out. So he decided to gamble everything on one final offensive. A surprise attack so powerful, so unexpected, that it could split the Allied forces in half and force a negotiated peace. It was a long shot, but it was his last chance. The plan was called Unternehmen Wacht am Rhein. Over 200,000 German soldiers were secretly assembled, nearly 1,000 tanks, thousands of artillery pieces, elite panzer divisions, even special infiltration units wearing captured American uniforms, tasked with spreading confusion behind enemy lines. Everything was prepared in total secrecy. Radio silence was enforced. Troops moved only at night. Even German commanders weren't fully aware of the scale until the last moment. The target was the Ardennes forest, a dense, rugged region of hills, thick trees and narrow roads stretching across Belgium and Luxembourg. The Allies believed it was one of the least likely places for a major attack. It had happened before in 1940, when Germany invaded France through the same forest. But the Allies thought lightning wouldn't strike twice. They were wrong. December 16th, 1944, 5:30 in the morning. Without warning, the silence of the Ardennes exploded. Over 2,000 German artillery guns opened fire simultaneously. The bombardment was overwhelming. Shells rained down across American positions, destroying communication lines, shattering defenses and killing thousands within minutes. Entire units were wiped out before they even understood what was happening. The sky burned. The ground shook. Chaos spread instantly. Then came the advance. German infantry and tanks surged forward through the forest. American lines, thin and unprepared, began to collapse under the pressure. Some units fought bravely. Others were overrun. Roads became clogged with retreating troops, destroyed vehicles and refugees. Communication broke down. Command structures faltered. The front line began to bend, and then it bulged. On military maps, it formed a massive outward curve. That's how the battle got its name, the Battle of the Bulge. But in the middle of that chaos, one small town became the center of everything: Bastogne. A quiet Belgian town that, on the surface, didn't seem important. But it was. 7 major roads passed through Bastogne. In a battle where fuel, speed, and movement were critical, controlling those roads meant controlling the entire offensive. The Germans needed it, fast. They expected to capture Bastogne within 24 hours. They didn't. because the Americans made a desperate move. They rushed the 101st Airborne Division into the town. Known as the Screaming Eagles, they were elite paratroopers. But they weren't ready for this. They had just come from another operation. They were exhausted. Many lacked proper winter gear. Some didn't even have full ammunition loads, but there was no time. They were loaded into trucks in freezing conditions and sent directly into the fight. By December 19th, they had reached Bastogne. Within hours, German forces closed in from all sides. The last roads out were cut. The town was completely surrounded. No reinforcements, no escape. Just thousands of American soldiers, trapped in freezing conditions, facing one of the most powerful offensives Germany had left. And then the cold came. Temperatures dropped to nearly -20 degrees Celsius. Snow covered everything. The ground froze solid. Soldiers without proper boots suffered frostbite within hours. Weapons jammed from the cold. Medical supplies froze. Wounded men lay in makeshift aid stations, many slowly freezing to death. There were no fires, no hot meals, no dry clothes. Even digging foxholes became a nightmare. The frozen ground was so hard that soldiers used knives, bayonets, and anything they had just to carve out shallow positions for cover. It wasn't just a battle anymore. It was survival against nature itself. Meanwhile, German forces tightened the noose. Tanks surrounded the town. Artillery bombarded it day and night. Infantry probed the defenses constantly, looking for weak points. The Americans were running low on everything: ammunition, food, medical supplies, even bandages. And still they held. Then came December 22nd, a quiet gray morning. Snow falling gently over a battlefield filled with destruction. 4 German soldiers approached the American lines under a white flag. They carried a message, a formal demand for surrender. The letter was direct, cold, merciless. To the USA commander of the encircled town of Bastogne, the fortune of war is changing. This time, the USA forces in and near Bastogne have been surrounded by strong German armored units. More German armored units have crossed the river, are near Orthouville, have taken Marche and reached St. Hubert. Liebremont is in German hands. There is only one possibility to save the encircled USA troops from total annihilation. That is the honorable surrender of the encircled town. 2 hours. That was the deadline. The message was delivered to Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe, who was acting commander at the time. He read the letter carefully. The room was silent. Officers waited. The situation was desperate. Supplies were nearly gone. The men were freezing. Reinforcements were uncertain. Then McAuliffe looked up and said one word: nuts. At first, some officers didn't even understand. Was he serious? Was that the reply? He was. They typed it up exactly as he said it. To the German commander, nuts, the American commander. When the German officers received the response, they were confused. One of them asked the American officer delivering it, "What does this mean?" The reply came instantly. "It means go to hell," and just like that, the decision was made. There would be no surrender. The word spread quickly through Bastogne. Nuts. It became more than a response. It became a symbol. A refusal to give up. A statement that no matter how bad things got, they would fight. And the Germans attacked again. Artillery pounded the town relentlessly. Buildings collapsed into rubble. Trees exploded into deadly splinters. Tank assaults pushed against defensive lines. Infantry charges tested every position. And still the Americans held. When ammunition ran low, they fired only when necessary. When weapons failed, they fixed them. When supplies ran out, they improvised. And when everything seemed lost, they kept fighting anyway. But far from Bastogne, something was already in motion. General George S. Patton had been anticipating a German counterattack. When it came, he reacted faster than anyone expected. During a high-level meeting, he was asked how long it would take to relieve Bastogne. His answer was immediate. Right to his hours. Most thought it was impossible. Moving an entire army in winter, under combat conditions through difficult terrain, it had never been done that fast before. But Patton did it. He ordered the U.S. Third Army to pivot north. Thousands of vehicles, tanks, and soldiers turned and began moving toward Bastogne, in one of the most impressive maneuvers of the war. Meanwhile, inside the town, the situation reached its breaking point. Then, on December 23rd, something changed. The sky cleared. After days of heavy clouds that grounded Allied aircraft, the weather finally opened, and with it came hope. Hundreds of American planes filled the sky. C-47 transport aircraft flew over Bastogne, dropping desperately needed supplies. Ammunition, food, medical equipment, even blankets. Parachutes filled the air like lifelines descending from above. For the first time in days, the soldiers on the ground had a chance to fight back properly, and they did. With renewed strength, they held their positions. They pushed back attacks. They stabilized the line. Then, on December 26th, Patton's forces finally broke through the German lines and reached Bastogne. The siege was over. 7 days, surrounded, freezing. Outnumbered, bombarded, and they never surrendered. The German offensive, once full of momentum, began to stall. Fuel shortages, stiff resistance, and Allied counterattacks slowly crushed the advance. Hitler's final gamble had failed. The Battle of the Bulge would continue for weeks, but Bastogne became its symbol. A turning point, a moment that proved that even in the worst Condé,